Well, good afternoon, lads and lassies. Good evening, I should say. It's 7:45 in the evening here. Good to see you all. Want to say a massive hello to Kimberly Holt in the side chat, who finally made it to our first live stream. Welcome. It's great to have you here. The more, the merrier, and everybody's welcome and all that good stuff. Well, how is everybody? Charlie says there's a nice storm going on. Yeah, I heard there's some pretty cruel weather over in our next door neighbors country over there in the UK. It's pretty crazy over there. We had a bad couple of days of weather too. I will say in the last hour, the temperature sure did drop. Unclean hands in the side chat. Good to see you. I have been absolutely loving your videos lately, I must say. If somebody could share Unclean Hands' link in the side chat, I'd really appreciate it. I was doing some, I was building some, like a wardrobe type thing for my mother-in-law today. And I was listening to your videos as I was doing it. Really easy listening, really chill. So thank you for that. I've been thoroughly enjoying those videos. Polly says there's a snowstorm there too. Are you in the UK by any chance? Glyn says, first time I've made it to the start of a live stream. Great to have you here for the start of a live stream. That's awesome. Yeah, I often see a few people jump in at the last minute and they're like, okay, I'm here. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm about to leave. But anyway, what can you do? Ellen says, hello from Denmark. Don't kill me, Denmark. There's a lot of great things about moving to Denmark, but the flag is a big plus. Anyway, Mammy OD is in the side chat. That is my mother over there, so I better behave myself now. Who else have we got here? Michael Bowman, good to see you. Zatsu is in the house. Good to see you too. Polly's in Nebraska. Wow, yeah, I guess it freezes there a lot. It's up pretty north, right? North, Midwest, something if that's even possible. Miss Mandy's here. Good to see you all. So anyway, two topics I wanted to cover tonight, and we're going to start seeing a few more live streams come up. I haven't really done a whole lot in the last few days because, since I got home from Australia, really, and it's not that I haven't wanted to. I have wanted to. Just been really, really busy. Just had a lot to do with catching up with study and catching up with friends and stuff like that over here. I had a few meetings and all that kind of thing as well. So anyway, the two topics I wanted to cover tonight. So the first one is something that I just wanted to bring up that came across my desk, as it were. And before we continue, just a huge hello to my good friend Frank Perry. For those of you who don't know who Frank is, he's been a supporter of this channel since basically day one, and he's been through it with me the whole way. So thank you so much, Frank. It's great to have you here. And Lady Demon in the side chat says, shout out to Lukey boy. Lukey, I hope you're doing well, my friend. So anyway, I'll take my eyes off the side chat so the old ADHD doesn't take over again. So this came across my desk today, and basically somebody commented on my most recent video. And generally speaking, you know, when you're a YouTuber, you get a whole lot of hate videos, hate emails, all sorts of awful stuff come up all the time. And you just, after a while, you just ignore it. It just rolls off your back. It goes through you like shit through a goose. You just don't care anymore. But the odd time you see something, and while it doesn't necessarily bother you as a creator, it does raise some questions that I think need to be answered. And so I'm going to do that now. So I won't bother bringing this up on the screen because it's just too much hassle. But yesterday's video, Glenn Serio's British cousin. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you did see it, let me know in the side chat. Did you love it? I'm sure y'all did. I had a lot of fun making it, and so, you know, obviously I enjoyed it, but that's neither here nor there. But that brings up actually that actually does kind of tie into the whole point of this conversation, and it's talking about doing YouTube as a job or as a career or to make a living. And I'm going to touch on a few points about it. You know, whether or not it's a good idea is the first thing. And some of the elements involved in it and what you have to do as a creator to actually survive in the industry. And I can tell you straight up, if you're an aspiring YouTube creator, tread very carefully. That's all I'll say, because it is not all fun and games. It's not easy if you decide that you want to take a year or two out of your life to see if you can make it work. And I can tell you now from experience, from my own experience and from other YouTubers and stuff like that, either it doesn't work out for most people, which is true, and it's unfortunate, or it does work out for a while and then bad things happen. And that's kind of what I'm going to touch on and to explain a few points here. So I'm going to just kindly ignore the side chat for now, as much as I hate to. I wish I could just sit there and read them all out all the time, but we got to get into this. So yesterday, the video I put up was Glenn Serio's British cousin. You may or may not have seen it. If you did see it, let everybody in the side chat know how great it was. And it was demonetized. Now, for anybody who's followed my channel for a while, you know I've kind of struggled with monetization issues over the past 2 years since I kind of started really making videos. And this is a very common issue for a lot of creators. Some of us, like people like me who cover the kind of things I cover, are veterans of the YouTube demonetization rules. Others, it comes out of nowhere and for no apparent reason, and it seems very unfair, and it is unfair. And so we're going to have a look at that. So basically, that video yesterday was demonetized. Why was it demonetized? Well, basically, anything that contains police officers or any kind of interaction that may be construed as somewhat having the potential to upset people immediately gets demonetized by YouTube, for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. And what does that mean? Well, it means you have to apply for somebody at YouTube or a third-party company to watch your video in full and make a decision as to whether or not they think that that video is suitable for advertisers. Now, in my case, a lot of them immediately go, as we say in the YouTube world, they go yellow, which means that they've been marked as unsuitable for advertisers, but still suitable to be played on YouTube. And then you have to apply to have that reviewed. And then once that's done, they'll either say yay or nay, and you'll either get your monetization or you won't. Now, in my case, thankfully, 9 times out of 10, when I apply for it, within 2 or 3 days, they agree that the video should have been monetized. But by that stage, it's already kind of too late. The vast majority of people who are going to view your video have already viewed it, and they've missed the opportunity to, make money off me and make money off ads, basically. So it's not worth YouTube's time pushing that video out. It's not worth my time basically waiting 3 or 4 days to release it until it gets monetized. Now, why is that? Well, most of what I cover and what other creators in this genre cover are very much up-to-date issues, right? So they're things that happen that people want to know about straight away. And when I covered flat earth stuff for quite a while, YouTube took a massive U-turn on anything to do with conspiracies. And in fact, I'll probably get demonetized on this live stream just for using that word. But basically anything containing a conspiracy theory, be it, I don't know, COVID, 9/11, any of that stuff. Once you say that word, you can just guarantee yourself in your head that there's a good chance that this video is going to be demonetized. And 9 times out of 10, that is the case until you ask for a review, at which time they turn around and monetize the video. Now, that's very frustrating for YouTubers, and I'll tell you why. Number one, it muzzles us somewhat because when you're making a video, you have to police your language to a ridiculous degree. In fact, I had to stop using my favorite catchphrase, which was lads and lassies. And note how I had to put pauses in there. Well, basically, YouTube's racist against Irish people, doesn't pick up on the nuance of our accents. And as a result of that, it thought I said lads and German fellas during World War II, put it that way. And so I had to stop using that. And once I stopped using that, I noticed that my videos weren't getting demonetized immediately. And it was some viewers actually picked up on the fact that when they were watching my videos with subtitles, that it was actually showing up as lads and German fellas during World War II. And so that's awful. So I emailed them. I was like, you guys are super racist. Not really. I just emailed them and said, hey, look, it seems like the algorithm is picking up that I'm saying something about lads from World War II that I'm not saying. Could you please monetize my video? And usually they do. So that's okay. Just before we continue, 2 things to read out. Number 1 from Paula Spears. Got a super chat here for $4. Thank you so much. And Palma has upgraded her membership to be a 3-star general in the Demon Army. Thank you so much. Really appreciate having you here, Palma. So anyway, that brings us on to the comments on this video. So yesterday's video was outright demonetized. I haven't checked, but I believe by now I should have had a decision, and it looks like this video has now been monetized, which is good. But 13,000 people have already watched it, so the potential for any ad revenue is already diminished by about 80 or 90%, maybe even more. And it also, the other way it hinders you is not only do you not make any ad revenue off it, but you also don't get your video pushed out to viewers that haven't viewed your channel before. So anyway, I put up a pinned comment on there. I said, this video was demonetized, so please consider throwing something small in the tip jar. Thanks. And we'll get into that here in a minute, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. And so the first comment on that video comes from a guy called Yanni Markow, says, dude, you are asking for money. Can't believe it. Just because this got demonetized, you're begging for money like frauditors do. You're acting like them, doing it for money, not for exposing the frauditors. Get a real job and do this as a hobby. We get to that in a second. I can't believe everyone wants to be a YouTuber nowadays for easy money. Easy money, I hear you say. Okay, interesting. We'll cover that as well. We'll break this down in a minute. Who's going to do the rest of the work in the world so you can have your electronic equipment, etc.? I can't believe you are e-begging like the frauditor. All right, so let's break this down, right? So he says, dude, you're asking for money, can't believe it. That's called doing a job, all right? Now, there's a huge difference between doing YouTube or other kind of e-media type jobs. There's a huge difference between that and going out and doing a regular job, as it were, right? We live in a new world. We live in an electronic world. Some of us make YouTube videos. Some of us still put up kitchen cabinets for a living. And there's no shortage of those people, although there might be at the moment, but not because YouTubers exist. So when he talks about asking for money, right, just because this video got demonetized, what does this video being demonetized mean? Well, it means this. It means the maybe 8 hours of work that went into making that video is gone. That is 8 hours that I could be out doing something else. And I accept that risk. When you do YouTube, you have to treat it as a business. There are other elements to making a video than just being monetized and making the minuscule amount of money that you do from YouTube advertising. So there's more to it than that. And I'll get into that here in a minute. So talking about just being demonetized, as I say, is a reflection of about 8-ish hours of work. Some videos don't take that long to make. Some videos do. It's just the way it is. This video in particular that we were talking about yesterday, Glenn Serio's British cousin. So you're looking at, maybe sometimes the video just falls into your lap. Other times you got to go looking for content. Then you might find something that seems like it's going to be a good one, but they start talking about stuff that you don't particularly want to risk covering, things that YouTube would consider verboten, as it were. So you move on and you find another video. And this process takes a fair bit of time. So you could be looking at least an hour or 2 hours. Now, some people wouldn't consider sitting down watching YouTube videos as work. And from the outside looking in, I would probably agree. But here's the thing. I don't like auditors. I don't like particularly watching auditor videos. If I had my time, and I'm sure Mrs. Demon and my mom in the side chat here could agree with me on this one, if I was to spend my time watching YouTube videos, I wouldn't be watching frauditors. I'd be watching documentaries, World War II stuff about airplanes, that kind of thing. I wouldn't be watching frauditors. Well, then you find the video, you download the video, you sit down, you watch it. Sometimes I don't watch them in full because I want a more live, raw reaction, which people seem to like. So you sit down, you kind of cut the video up into the bits you want, and you need to then start your censoring. Right, microphone. You need to then start your censoring. Because again, YouTube, they don't like foul language. They don't like anything about the pandemic, anything like that. You've got to go through and cut it bit by bit. Then you got to grade it. So you got to make sure that the sound levels are right, that the video quality is good enough or, worth your while doing. And then it gets to the fun part, which is recording your responses. And then as you go through it, you might come to a part where you go, I actually don't know the legality of this particular thing. So you might spend an hour researching the legality of something so that you can give the right information out. Then you go back to filming, you film. And then the not so fun part happens where you have to edit it. You got to stitch it all together. Now, as a viewer, as somebody who doesn't particularly make YouTube videos or maybe doesn't understand video editing and all that kind of stuff, you might not realize how much is actually involved in editing a 15-minute video. To you, the viewer, it just looks like the guy says something, then I respond. And the guy says something, then I respond. What's actually involved in that is cutting down all that footage, making it fit, making the sound right, making the image quality correct, picking the right points to cut, all this. It's really, really tough. And you can see the difference between my videos now and my videos a year ago. Chalk and cheese, totally different. There's a lot of learning involved. So then you edit it, you upload it, and you cross your fingers and toes and you hope that YouTube doesn't find a reason to demonetize it. 9 times out of 10, they do. So then you have to take it off. You got to go back and look at why would they have demonetized this video. Is it my title? So you look through your title. If the word police is in there, or cops, or arrest, or tased, or flat earth, or audit now even, If any of those things are in there, there's a good chance that it's demonetized. So you got to use kind of cryptic language. Then you go to your description, you see if you can find the same thing. And then you go and you sit back, you watch yourself on video 2 or 3 times to pick up on these tiny things that YouTube might be misconstruing. You might find those, you might not. Let's say you do. You got to go back to the drawing board, take out that bit, refilm a bit, do all this stuff. So there's a huge amount of work involved. So when people say that it's not a real job, that's just from their perspective. And I respectfully disagree with them, or disrespectfully disagree with them. Anyway, so then he says, you're begging for money like the frauditors do. I couldn't disagree with that more. Now, some YouTubers do, and you can say that they're just as bad as the people they cover, and that's fine, right? That's his opinion. That's okay. But I'm going to give my response to it and my opinion to it. Begging for money like frauditors do. Here's the difference. People like me, people like Johnny O from the Plot Hole, people like Team Skeptic, people like Tones, people like Unclean Hands, anybody who covers this kind of stuff. When we go out there, we're not going out there intentionally looking for trouble, going out harassing people and looking for trouble to be paid to do that. So we're not going out there shouting at cops. We're not going out there harassing anybody just so people throw a few bucks. That's a huge difference. Now, I'll be clear when I say this. When I see these frauditors and whoever else going out there e-begging, I don't see that as e-begging. As far as they see it, they are performing, they're creating, and they're getting paid for those creations. And in that sense, I can see where they're coming from. Now, just to clarify, what they do to get their money, I disagree with. I think it's wrong, and YouTube shouldn't allow it. That's just my opinion. That's not cancel culture. It's just that it perpetuates this danger that they're putting themselves and other people in. So I don't agree with that particularly. But anyway, so we'll move on to other parts of the comment. You're acting like them, doing it for money, not for exposing the frauditors. Okay. So there's kind of two halves to that one, right? So as for acting like them, I disagree. I don't see that I am acting like them. I point and laugh at them. That's not acting like them. Doing it for money? Absolutely. If somebody has given up their time and considers that YouTube or some other e-media platform is something that they're good at, that they enjoy, if they make people laugh, they make people happy, and they get a good following and they can make it into their career, more power to them. And I would support anybody that wants to do that, no matter what they cover. So as for the making money part of it, that is definitely an element of it. It's not the main element of it, but it is certainly an element of it, because at the end of the day, if people like me weren't able to make anything from this, then it's not that we wouldn't want to do it. It's just that we simply would not have the time. We just wouldn't have the time to do it. So that's a part of it for sure. He says, you're doing it for money, not for exposing the auditors. Two things can be true at the same time. One common misconception that I've had a lot here is that I'm some kind of watchdog. I've heard that term be thrown at me a few times. Now, I didn't even know what that was until I realized that it was a term for people who expose frauditors. Let me be clear, to quote Barack Obama, let me be clear. I'm not here to expose frauditors necessarily. Now, sometimes I will. Most of the time, I'm just here to laugh at stupid people. I'm just here to find people making idiots of themselves and laugh at them. That's what I do. And I have a lot of fun doing it. I don't consider myself a watchdog of any description. So anyway, as for exposing auditors, maybe sometimes I do, and I enjoy doing it. I will be doing it here in a minute with the incredible help of Tones Overthinks It. I got to tell you, amazing job. But that's not my sole purpose. It's not even my main purpose. My main purpose is to have fun and laugh at idiots, basically. I would consider myself more in the realm of being a comedian than being a watchdog per se. There might be some crossover. He says, get a real job and do this as a hobby. First of all, don't fucking tell me what to do, Karen. I do what I want, when I want, how I want. So, and I hope all of you out there do the exact same thing. As for the real job thing, I think we've covered that. Would this same person go to his local radio station and tell the radio host to go get a real job? No. Okay? I can't believe everyone wants to be a YouTuber nowadays for easy money. Now, there's two parts to this one as well. First of all, I don't think everybody wants to be a YouTuber nowadays. I'm sure a lot of people do, but not everybody does. In fact, the vast majority of people that I've spoken to prefer to just watch and enjoy YouTube videos rather than actually make them or be involved in them even. Now, you guys in the side chat here might not realize how much of an involvement you actually have and how important you are to these videos and these streams and whatever else, but you really do. So you are involved whether you like it or not. Anyway, so then he says, everybody wants to be a YouTuber nowadays. First of all, I wouldn't wish that on anybody because it's not easy. I can tell you that from a lot of abundant experience that it is not an easy thing to do. And he says, for easy money. That's the bit that made me lol, because I can tell you, unless you get lucky with some big viral video, there is no such thing as easy money on YouTube. There are stopgaps all along the way. You have to get to 4,000 hours of view time and 1,000 subscribers before you can even begin to think about making money on YouTube. Then on top of that, they take a huge cut out of it. They stop most of your videos from being monetized. Any of the juicy stuff basically gets demonetized. So there's always these massive traps. So easy money, it is not. If I wanted easy money, I could make easy money, no problem. I could walk away from this right now, and with all the work experience and qualifications I have, I could go get a job that would pay twice what YouTube does. No problem. No problem at all, as I'm sure the vast majority of you folks can. So as for easy money, it is not. This is a labor of love. And it's as simple as that. And if you're a YouTuber and you don't love it, and that's not the main driving force behind it, then you simply cannot do it. It is impossible to perform the way I do and the way other people do if you don't love it. If I wake up and I'm having a bad day, I am not making a video that day because that will come across. So that's how much I love doing what I do. This is the best. He says, who is going to do the rest of the work in this world so you can have your electronic equipment, etc.? The image that brings up is a whole load of people sitting there at desks with cameras in a big row going like, I don't know how to install a toilet because everybody's YouTubers. I would say YouTubers make up like, there's probably less YouTubers now than there is feckin' astronaut. Well, no, that's probably not likely, but you know what I mean? We don't make up a whole lot of people. Of all of my friends who I didn't make through YouTube, I am the only one that's a YouTuber. Out of thousands of people I know, I'm the only one that's a YouTuber. So, yeah. So who's going to do the rest of the work? Everybody else that doesn't make YouTube. Let me ask in the side chat here, and if it's not something that you want to share, then by all means, don't feel obliged. For all of you in the side chat, just pop in there if you feel comfortable. Let us know what you do for a living that isn't YouTube, right? So let us know any plumbers, any chippies, any electric engineers, any whatever, teachers. Let me know in the side chat what you do if you're not a YouTuber, basically, so that we can say. And if you are just a YouTuber, as in that's your only job, you let me know. And in the meantime, I'm just going to read out these super chats. Oh, sorry, no super chats. How dare I? Michael Bowman for $5 says, I will monetize you best I can. Thank you so much, Michael. And Renee Bo says for $5, I won't be in the chat for a bit, but I'll be listening. Well, Renee Bo, if you're listening out there, thank you so much. And I'll catch you in a bit. 36 District Court for $20 says, supporting an artist I agree with, enjoy, and want to see more of. If you can't afford the tip, you can't. Let's remember that. And that's exactly right. Thank you so much for that. And I agree 100%. Like a lot of people, a lot of the comments that I've seen, not on my channel, but on other people's channels, is like, forcing people to get, nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. If you love content and you feel that you can or want to be involved in creating it or pushing that channel or helping that channel, then that's your choice. And we as creators appreciate it. We certainly don't demand it. There probably are YouTubers out there who literally demand tithes be paid, but certainly it's just not it for me anyway. But you know, so what have we got in the side chat? We got leather workers. That's awesome. I've got to ask you, Broad Arrow, about I really want to start doing some leather work, some embossing and things like that, and I'd love to pick your brain about it at some stage. Technical writer, electric engineer. Michael Bowman says not successful pimp. Jay Verse says I'm a research engineer, but I'm trying to get fired and become a YouTuber. The Mexican Bob is a paralegal. I too am a qualified paralegal, though I've never actually worked in the field. John F says web developer, retired journalist and photographer. Polly, well, Polly, go get a real job, right? Am I right? Thank you, Polly. Journalist, photographer, that's awesome. Inquisitor Bacon says, I'm an in-home caregiver, one of the most important jobs in the world. Security management supervisor, that's what I used to do. Love it. Um, let me see here now. The Dead Valley Paranormal says everyone be careful with crawfishes, aka child predator called mascot. Yet he asks 15-year-olds to send people. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Dead Valley Paranormal. Can you email me about that if you get a chance? IrishDemonVids@gmail.com. Devil's Angel is an investigator. Palma does repossessions. Zebra's the stage technician on the Las Vegas Strip. That's dope. Baker Street Gaming works in retail. We got some retired people, factory worker, fast food. We got a performer, retired. Oh, performer, Secret Squirrel. Oh no, that's not a real job now, Secret Squirrel, as we're told. You can't be a performer like me and you. Not a real job. Sorry. Here's a hatchet. Go cut down some trees or something. Anyway, so it just goes to show that point, basically, that us being YouTubers is not affecting the world's fucking work. Jesus. Anyway, I can't believe you were e-begging like the frauditor. That's not really what e-begging is. I think people completely miss the point of what e-begging is. I'm not going to say any names, but one particular person that was e-begging quite a while back was like trying to give people the hard ear or the poor ear about what was going on in their lives and yada, yada, yada. And that's fine. But this was like constant. Like every few weeks, there was this new fucking problem. That's e-begging. The difference between e-begging and YouTubers asking for support is just that. We're asking for support because we provide what most people see as a service, right? So we are filling the gap where mainstream media and radio and all that stuff has dropped the ball. I don't watch mainstream news, I don't watch TV, and I don't listen to radio. Be in trouble if I was watching radio because that's not how it works. But I don't do any of those three things. I watch other YouTubers' content. So if it wasn't for those other YouTubers, I'd have nothing to watch or listen to. So, for example, one of my absolute all-time favorite channels, and a channel that I regularly pay homage to in financial ways, is so there's actually a few in particular, but one of my favorites is Mark Felton Productions, because he is somebody who creates some of the best short documentaries on YouTube by a mile, and he gets nailed by YouTube at every corner because, again, the algorithm misconstrues what he's talking about. If anybody here knows who Mark Felton is, you'll know exactly why that is the case. So he's basically a World War II kind of style YouTuber. Volume a little low. Let's see here. Roger that. That should be a little bit better, I hope. So anyway, that's kind of how that works. It's a little bit different. The reality of the fact is this: we don't work for big corporations. We don't have a big nest egg behind us from, like CNN or Fox or MSNBC or any of those things. We got to do this on our own. We're kind of like independent journalists in that we do our stories, we make our content, we put it out and hope that people like it. And that's as simple as that. Whereas your, nighttime host of, 3-letter TV is going to get his wage no matter whether or not his video is shit. So that's kind of how that works. And so it's a totally different environment. And then there's a few other people just not understanding how YouTube works, why YouTubers do what we do, how we make money. People seem to think that we make a fortune from ad revenue. Let me tell you this. Getting a video monetized, for me anyway, is less about the ad revenue and much more about YouTube pushing that video. So if a video is demonetized, they're not going to push it. Very few people are going to see it. If the video is monetized, everyone's going to see it. You get loads of new subscribers. And then, yes, the ad revenue hopefully is worth their while. Like, I would make a lot more from Teespring, Patreon, PayPal, and Super Chats than I would ever make from ad revenue. So it's really not that important in the grand scheme of things, other than to actually get the video out there. Frank Perry for $5 says, how is it the auditors mostly keep their ad rev, but you use their content that seems okay for them, but you, damn it. But you lose out, reminds me of you versus Pratt. Yes. Now that brings us to the next point. So I lost total video monetization a while back because I responded to a video of a guy that most of you probably won't know now, called Daniel Pratt. He's a well-known flat earth YouTube guy, where he said some really horrible shit about me and about other people, and told us to go self-permanently nap time ourselves, is the only way I can say it on YouTube. And so I responded to that, and my channel got absolutely nuked. And if it wasn't for people getting behind me As in literally people being like, hey, you know, we want you to keep making videos, then I just would have stopped and gone on and done something else. No big deal. But now it would be a big deal because I love making this. And I love, you know, everybody that comes and views my videos and comments and all that stuff. So yeah, I suppose the simple answer is I don't know. I would say this though, I think their videos have been getting demonetized a lot. Because what you'll notice with a lot of auditor channels is that rather than going out on the street, making the videos, coming home and uploading them, now they go out on the street, they make the videos, but they do it live so that there's the opportunity for super chats. And that's evidenced by when Glenn Serio? Yeah, Glenn Serio was doing his live stream the night he got arrested. And he was like, oh, I just got a super chat. I should do these live streams more often. And you'll notice that now that most of the frauditors are doing live streams instead, because I think their videos are actually getting hit a lot more than they would say. 36th District Court upgraded membership to 3-star General of the Demon Army. Thank you so much. Glad to have you. And Baker Street Gaming for £8.99 says, I have to go now. Have an awesome stream. We'll catch up later. Baker Street Gaming, thank you so much, my friend. And we'll catch you for the next one. Thank you very much indeed. And we have a Susan Ray in the side chat has upgraded membership to Sadistic Sergeant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. So anyway, that's that little rant over. And you know, I might get called butthurt for even responding to that. That's not the case. I actually don't care. And here's the thing. Here's the important thing that you will have to learn about me as an individual, me as a person in general. I only care about the thoughts of people that I respect and that I care about. So if my mom tells me something, if my brothers tell me something, if the lads in my club tell me something, if Mrs. Demon tells me something, if some of you guys out there, in fact, most of you guys out there who I would know very well, tell me something, then I will take that on board. So when I get a comment from somebody saying, hey man, like one I got a while back from a really close, really awesome friend of mine, fellow YouTuber, was like, you need to drop the music in your videos. At first I was like, nah. And then I checked it and I was like, actually, yeah, he's right. It does sound way better without the music. And that's just me. That worked for me. I respect that person's view. So I took it on board and looked at it. This guy, I don't give a shit what he says. I don't care. I actually do not care what he thinks or what he believes or his thoughts on me. He's nobody to me. But the point that I'm trying to make is to just put this notion to bed that somebody doing something like YouTube, making good quality videos, making people laugh, making people have a lot of fun every day, is totally different to going out there harassing cops for money. There's a huge difference. I think we can all agree on that. Karsh67, thank you so much for $10 says, people don't know how hard a job is until they do it. Exactly. I'm a special ed teacher and most people think I'm an overpaid babysitter. Thank you so much. And you make a really good point there. So my mom is in the side chat right now and she's been working with mostly children with special needs and disabilities for the past like 20 years. So she can definitely stand to that. I can too, because my whole life I've been lucky enough to be brought up around people with special needs. So I understand how hard that job is. My beautiful little niece has profound special needs. So I understand how difficult that job is. And I have a humongous amount of respect for people like you who do that job. And my mom, my older brother is the same. My brother who has a child with a profound disability, and friends of mine who do that job. And you're absolutely right. People don't know how hard something is until they do it themselves. I've been very lucky that I've had a lot of very recent success here on YouTube, and it's not for lack of trying. So I don't know if luck is really the fair word to use, if I'm being fair to myself. I've worked very hard. I've put a lot of effort into doing what I do, and so do a lot of other YouTubers out there. Some of us make it, some of us don't. It's a very brutal industry. And YouTube could pick up one wrong word in your video and boom, you're gone. You're gone. That's it. You show me another job that's just as bad as that. It's crazy. Matt Gunnarsson says for 100 secs, I like you. Please continue. Like the balance between criticism and making fun. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, actually. That's a very good comment as well, because that's what I try to do. When I make videos, right? When I make videos or do live streams or respond to comments, I try to be me at all times. I don't try to put on a show for anybody. And the reason I do that is because there's no better character than that you can put across than yourself. It's as simple as that. I'm a good talker. I've always been a good talker. My mother might say too much of a good talker, I would tend to agree. But that's who I am. That's what I do. And I also absorb a huge amount of information. And so I'm confident in talking. I'm confident in holding my position. But at the same time, if I'm proven wrong, I'll take it straight away. That's a recent development, to be fair. I may have fought with my fingernails when I was younger, but nowadays I tend to be a little bit more open to criticism and things like that. And so that is a really good point. It's how can I explain it? It's so hard to explain, but the balance between criticism and having fun is very important because, and this isn't pointing the finger at any channel. In fact, off the top of my head, I can't even think of any channels that are too criticisms too critical. Jesus Christ, I couldn't think of that word. I can't point at any, but there used to be a few in the flat earth world that were way too just preachy and shouting down at people and blah, 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 blah. Whereas for me, I like to make the way, all right, this would probably be the best way to describe my mindset going into making a video. My mindset is very simple going into making a video. And that is that when I sit down to respond to a video, I picture that you guys are sitting right next to me. And I know that sounds all melodramatic and kind of fluffy, but that's the truth. I picture that all of you are sitting there and I go like, hey, get a load of this fucking guy, you know? And so I make that video as if you're there with me. And then that I feel like that comes out on the video really well. And that's what I do. Adam, welcome to the Demon Army. Thank you so much, my friend. I hope you're doing well. So anyway, Tammy Reed said something stupid. Well, everything is stupid to some extent. Me is in the side chat. Good to see you. I think Tammy's probably responding to somebody else. It's my favorite name in the world, by the way, Tammy, besides Jennifer and Margaret, my fiance and mother. They're my two favorite names, followed by Tammy. Let me see here now. Anyway, we're running out of the time that I've allotted for this video, so I'm going to get stuck straight into this. So this is a video. This comes from Tones I always do this. Tones Overthinks It. And it's excellent. It points out the cop baiting kind of style that frauditors use. I think it's really important to cover. So let's get stuck into this video. I'll read some of the bits for anybody who's watching and sorry, for anybody who's listening and not particularly watching. So here goes nothing. So on February 9th, 2022, 3 self-proclaimed First Amendment auditors recorded themselves visiting multiple police and municipal buildings in Macomb County, Michigan, to conduct audits while live streaming on YouTube. So let's have a look at these. All right. The men filming are identified as Steve Jones, Joshua Lanto, and the unidentified man, Michigan Constitutional Crusader.
He was on the phone. He put him on hold. What do you do in this? What do you do in this office? Just wondering what you do in this office. I know, but what does this office do?
The lady, she came over and she said, well, I pretended like I wasn't with you guys. I said, I'm just following around those crazy guys with cameras. What are they doing? And then she said, they're not allowed to be up here.
First Amendment auditors claim to be exercising and ensuring the protection of free speech. Often they clash with government employees and law enforcement as they push the limits of the law in the name of constitutional activism. Muckham is how it's pronounced. They've been accused by some to be frauds, deliberately acting suspicious or aggressive as means of provoking reactions for YouTube content, baiting police officers into confrontations, and not genuinely acting in defense of free speech or the Constitution. Correct.
See, look at all these signs that don't mean anything. It looks like a First Amendment audit. Don't tell anybody. Or let me guess, you didn't get the memo.
Oh, dude, we're allowed to talk to you.
I didn't say anything about not being allowed to talk to me. I said, did you guys see the memo?
When leaving the Muckham County Medical Examiner's Office, Joshua Lanto failed to terminate his live stream. Oof. Before entering a vehicle with Mr. Jones. Now, this to me is the most pivotal part of the whole video, actually. This is awesome. But before we continue, just want to read a quick super chat. Jerry Lass, thank you so much for €5, says, it's brutal indeed, but keep on. You're inspiring. Thank you so much. Irish voice is important. It sure is. We content creators have to bend our backs. Friggin' ox poop it is. I couldn't agree with you more. The problem is, if YouTube set out a bunch of rules, I'm prepared to follow them. I have to respect the fact that it is their business, it is their community. We have to follow those rules. But I'm sure you would agree, as a content creator, that it's not that simple. You have to guess what those rules are more times than not. And then when they change the rules, you're left holding the baby. But Jerry, if you could be so kind, could you, or somebody actually post a link in the side chat to Jerry's channel, and I'd be delighted to check that out. If you could email me a link, that's the best way to make sure I'll get it, to irishdemonvids@gmail.com, Jerry. I'll take a look and let me know in the side chat what kind of content you create, because I'd love to pick your brain about how the YouTube kind of algorithm and stuff is affecting you. But anyway, we'll move on. Following conversation was broadcast live to a minimal audience, with all three auditors unaware. Oh, top tier dumbassery right there. I love this. Tones did a feckin' great job.
Sorry,
on
I
this.
fucked up taking the dogs for a walk. He just wanted to stop and talk to me for some reason.
Don't fucking talk to them.
I'm sorry.
Now they fucking told everybody what we're doing and it fucked everything.
I'm sorry.
Because we didn't get any reactions anywhere else because they fucking notified everybody.
You bet they got Ride on the horn. I hate when you don't talk to them. They absolutely fucking hate it. They'd have been fucking following us through this whole compound.
So there you have it. Like the thing of like basically coaching the other guy on how to bait the cops, essentially. Idiots. Mr. Jones and MCC are upset with Mr. Lanto for engaging with the police officers that were sent to investigate their activities. When they had apparently learned their intentions, they no longer approached them and let them wander to film unmolested. That's boss moves. Instead of finding that the police officers in the facility have passed the audit since their free speech was not impeded, the auditors expressed their disappointment that they did not provoke a reaction. This is exactly what we saw in the video yesterday of Glenn Serio's British cousin. He was literally just disappointed that they didn't get that reaction.
Follow our lead, brother.
Yes.
That's why I said silent treatment. When they come in fucking deep,
Yeah, they
you
did.
know they want to be tyrannical. You give them silent treatment, that makes it more likely.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jones and MCC are explaining that by giving police the silent treatment, they're more likely to become more suspicious and vulnerable to provocation. That's hilarious.
And then by you talking to them, you patted their egos.
Oh, I was trying.
I
I was trying to actually like separate and be like, hey, go check what those guys are doing.
Oh,
But-
no, they had you. That's all they needed. One person that they could fucking interrogate and get information from. Pieces of shit. They come deep, too.
Yeah, they were ready to fucking tango.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really answer any other questions about what we were doing.
Yeah, but they could tell.
Take care, Tammy
Well, you
Reed.
think if they could tell, then they would just not
Well,
roll
no,
in
the fact
that
that you
deep.
stopped and engaged with them, let them know that you wasn't any kind of a threat.
Wow. So there's a really pivotal point there. It's like you're not actually a threat to them, but you're trying to convey the fact that you are, or that you could potentially be a threat to them. And what that tells me is that they're going in there with the sole intention of trying to provoke a response. And that, I think, is abundantly clear.
Usually that's their biggest concern.
And thank you, Debbie, for becoming a patron. I really appreciate that. 3 auditors have admitted on camera that they are intent on provoking conflict with law enforcement. Also, immediately after this broadcast, Mr. Lanto removed this from his YouTube channel. I am not surprised. Hours later, these auditors would record themselves accosting a motorist at the Marathon gas station located in the city of Utica, Michigan. I actually reached out to that company to get comment, but I haven't heard back. This would lead to an altercation with officers at the Ukiah Police Department. MCC would state in a live stream later that evening that he had apparently caused the motorist concern by pretending to film him with his phone.
And the sad
Max
part is, it
Gunnarson,
all
welcome to the
started
Demon Army.
with me pulling up a phone that was not even turned on and acting like it was recording the car next to us.
Rather than de-escalating the situation, MCC and Mr. Jones then proceeded to start filming the motorist and his vehicle in an invasive manner while being verbally abusive. This prompted the motorist to call the police.
What's the purpose of that? Do they want to?
Let me know in the side chat what you would do if you came out and you saw a guy filming the inside of your car like that. I know what I'd do.
Here, get that VIN number.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me call the cops. Let them get the cops. Go ahead and call the cops.
They're gonna laugh you right out of your fucking mind.
The three men then proceeded to mock the motorist further as they leave the Marathon gas station.
Well, now he's taking a picture of my license plate.
I keep chasing this.
I just got attacked by a camera.
Nobody's threatening you, shit.
Because you're lying piece of shit.
Did you listen to what he said? Did you hear that? Did you hear what he said to me? I'm kind of tempted to stay. Just so I can see the cops laugh at him.
Are you going to do something about that?
Just flip him off.
Instead of leaving, they decide to park and continue filming the motorist waiting for police.
He got so twisted.
He did. He's so butthurt. We weren't even taking his picture.
I know. What's that? Absolutely. It's called the First Amendment, man. It's called the First Amendment.
But like, this just proves that they're not actually interested in protecting the First Amendment. They're just out there to cause trouble, to get views. That's literally their whole thing.
Then why are you asking if it's worth our time if you don't know what's going on?
Right.
Like an idiot. Crying on his phone. Oh man, that's hilarious.
You didn't like us cameraing
Yeah.
him.
Camera-inging him. Genius.
You got attacked by two cameras.
Oh, now he's gonna pull into a parking spot. Maybe.
Mr. Jones then encourages MCC to return to the gas station parking lot, intent on harassing the motorist further.
Is that a parking spot right there?
Where?
Or right ahead of us by the tree?
I don't know.
So I'm just going to shoot this on to the... So basically, it's much of the same, just them pulling the piss out of this guy, essentially.
248.
So then the police turn up.
Right, the best part is when he thought we was recording him, we wasn't even recording him. Yep, better do it. Hurry, here he comes.
States that he needed to open the trunk on his vehicle. First Amendment orders often trying to fabricate legitimate purposes for their actions to imply the investigating officers do not have reasonable suspicion to investigate. In this case, he wished to create the implication that they were not parked in proximity to the complainant for the purpose of posing as a threat to him.
Hi.
Detective Sergeant Morabito approaches the auditors in an initially courteous manner. The auditors at first do not answer, the silent treatment used to provoke more direct response from law enforcement, and to later claim their own conduct was in response to unwarranted aggression. Take care, Inquisitor Bacon. Have a safe drive.
He did.
Okay, we'll go talk to him.
No, I'm going to be talking
No,
to
you're not going to talk to me.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna talk to me at all. I ain't got shit to say to you.
Mr. Jones and MCC immediately begin to respond with hostility, expressing no desire to cooperate in the investigation.
But go talk to the guy that called you. Isn't that procedure? When a complaining party calls, you go talk to the complaining party?
No, you don't get
Sure it is. Sure it is. Sure it is.
As will be shown later, another officer is already in the process of questioning the complainant. Mr. Jones chooses to remain ignorant to this fact and insists that he and his party do not have to be questioned.
Go talk to him. He'll tell you what's going on. And then you can be like, oh, nothing illegal's going on. I can go back to doing my real job.
Close your hood.
No. Don't touch our vehicle.
You are,
Our vehicle. Don't touch our
listen to
vehicle.
me.
You didn't pull us over.
Yes, I
No,
did.
you did not. We was parked here, idiot.
Dumbass.
We were parked here.
Okay.
You didn't pull us over. Don't try that
we're
shit.
gonna-
The hell's wrong with you?
Mr. Jones, Mr. Lado, and MCC continue to be hostile towards Sergeant Marabito, who was in fact legally and lawfully detained them as part of an ongoing investigation. Their increased aggression and unwillingness to cooperate is designed to create additional suspicion as well as instigate hostility from civilians as well as law enforcement.
Go talk to the guy who called you.
I got a camera on you too.
That's good.
What's your name, Badger?
Officer Ranelli, 376.
In the juice? You can't see it? It's right there. You can't read
Is that what you tell the
I don't
judge,
have to
smart
answer your
ass?
question. Yeah, I don't have to answer your question.
Is that, yeah, you do. You're a
No,
public
I don't.
servant, bitch.
No, I don't.
You're a public servant, bitch.
No, I don't.
Sergeant Morabito is beginning to respond to their behavior with less patience and sarcasm, unaware that often auditors wish to provoke this and will try to escalate further as we see Mr. Jones increase in
You work
his
for the
aggression and
public. You're paid by
volatility.
tax dollars.
Okay.
Your policy and code of conduct for your agency requires you identify by name and badge number to a
Oh,
member
my
of the public
goodness.
when they ask.
Really?
Yeah.
My God, are you
Yeah, he
brilliant.
is an arrogant little piggo. Pigotistical. He's ignorant as shit, though. That's for sure. He says he pulled us over.
Really?
No,
You
we
gonna
was
do it
parked
again?
there.
Hey, look, do you not see my lights?
I don't give a shit about your lights. I don't give a shit about your lights. You can't pull us over when we're parked because we didn't commit a traffic violation, idiot. You're a dummy.
Once again, Mr. Jones is ignorant to the fact that being pulled over is not strictly applicable to a traffic stop or requires the vehicle to have been moving. His attempts to label Sergeant Marabito as ignorant on his duties is to create frustration as well as mislead his YouTube audience.
Hell, I was behind my car when it pulled in here.
Right, right,
You pulled somebody over with
Right.
a standing outside the car.
right.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah, what'd you pull us over for then?
Oh, I'm not answering.
Oh, okay. You don't have a
You
reason.
answer
You don't
mine.
have a. Well, when you pull somebody over, you have to tell them what you pulled them over for. So if you don't have
got a threat complaint.
if you don't
We got
have
a-
articulable
We got a
suspicion,
complaint that there's a threat
I don't care.
here. So yeah,
I don't care
do
what
have,
he said.
And I'm going to be
People don't lie.
identifying
People, no,
I
you
will
won't.
Be,
Oh, no, you will
yes,
not.
I
You ain't
will.
getting my ID
You
numb
watch
nuts.
this. Oh yes.
You ain't getting my
watch
ID numb nuts. I promise you.
Mr. Jones has claimed that Sergeant Marabito has not explained why they are detained and that he would need articulable suspicion to do so or demand identification from them. Sergeant Marabito does answer this question that they received a complaint from the motorist that they were acting in a threatening manner, returning to the gas station, etc. We do see, however, when being faced with this explanation, Mr. Jones chooses to talk over Sergeant Marabito.
That guy called a bunch of armed gunmen out here for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. Oh, he called him and said we was making
Armed
threats.
gunmen?
Even though we got it all on video, nobody ever threatened anybody.
You guys have guns. Yes or no?
Do you?
It's none of your business.
Question, dude. You're the
I don't answer your questions either. You must think I'm fucking stupid.
You are fucking
I
stupid.
don't answer your questions
doing a
either.
very good. You're doing a good enough job proving that right now.
Yeah, he done proved how stupid he
Boy,
is.
you guys are brilliant.
Obviously smarter than you are.
Please tell me you are not a detective.
Oh, he is. He's a detective.
Ooh,
He inspects
clever.
dicks.
Detectives are supposed to be a little smarter than this.
He detects dicks.
Yeah, and he's detected 3 of them right now.
Oh my God.
He said he's going to identify me. I bet he don't.
Sergeant Marabito at this point has wisely decided to no longer respond to Mr. Jones and Mr. Lanto's insults. Auditors tend to not like this response as it can de-escalate the situation and make them out to be the principal aggressors, which they are. Seeing this, MCC decides to change tactics and approaches the sergeant's vehicle to provoke a response. It's very well done, Tones. Very well done.
I know, right?
Any of them.
Yep.
What crime? Hey, you have to have a
Wrong.
You can get away from the car. You can bike that. You can get away from
Hey, keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself.
No, you don't.
You don't get to put your hands on people. What the hell's wrong with you, dude?
MCC deliberately targeted the open driver's side window of the vehicle, given that he was doing this behind Sergeant Marabito while he was distracted by the other two. This can easily be interpreted as intent to gain access to the vehicle's interior and so force the sergeant to respond quickly and physically to remove him and welcome Jerry Last to the Demon Army. This gives Mr. Jones the opportunity to react to his use of force and attempt to label it as excessive. This is so well
That
broken
badge
down
done
by
went to your
Tones.
damn little head, didn't it?
Walk, go get away from
You
my
take a
car.
walk. I'll stand where I
Get
want
away
to
from my
stand.
car. That's
I'll
our car,
stand.
not yours.
He
It ain't your car.
He says, "Get away from my
Get away.
car."
We pay for it.
He
Yeah,
said, "Get
okay.
away from my
Get away.
car." Don't the taxpayers
Get
fund
away.
for the?
No.
Don't the taxpayers pay for that
Nope,
car?
that one's mine.
That's your personal.
Yep.
But it's
Yep.
being used. It's being used in public service, so it's a public vehicle. Here's the VIN number. We'll find out.
From MCC's perspective, we can see that Mr. Jones is making it a point to put his camera close to the sergeant's face. Mr. Jones can see that the sergeant is becoming visibly agitated by him and then immediately goes on the offensive and continues insulting him.
Yeah, Sarge, you need to put this little bitch in check. Put this little bitch in check.
Hey, you ever hear of
Spit it out. It ain't yours. Spit it out. It ain't yours.
Public? Don't
It's called
swear
freedom
in
of
public.
speech, motherfucker. Now what?
Fuck you. This is freedom of speech.
You're right. It is, but you.
Bad move right there, man. Like, I don't blame the sergeant at this point for becoming agitated to the point that he's reacted in the way he has. However, from a professional perspective, it doesn't look good. I think we can all agree that, as much as we all probably agree with this reaction and understand this reaction, it definitely doesn't look good. It's not a good look. And as much as this guy could have just come from a horrible scene, and that's why he's agitated and acting the way he is. But again, it doesn't look good. It's not the way to do it. And, you know, the other two officers trying to stop it was definitely a good move on their part. But this is giving the auditors exactly what they want. This is exactly what happens. Thank you so much, Tom, for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that. Right.
But you don't have those freedoms when you're on duty, idiot. You have duties, not rights, dummy.
The other officers tried to de-escalate the situation, and the other sergeant on the scene appears to advise the sergeant to let him take over and leave the scene. Good move.
Yeah, you are. You're definitely getting some time off for that one, partner. Oh, yeah. Watch the complaints come in. Watch the phone calls roll in.
As the sergeant appears to be willing to leave, MCC puts himself in a position to become physical with the other sergeant and draws Sergeant Marabito back into the
don't touch it.
situation.
You don't get to get our...
Hey, get your hands off of him. Get the fuck off my car. Get your hands off.
Don't touch our car.
John 5.
Don't touch the car, dumbass. You'll get a complaint, too. Wow, y'all are a bunch of bitch-ass tyrants up here, ain't you?
With MCC now going after the other sergeant and then moving away, Mr. Jones uses this opportunity to verbally attack Sergeant Marabito, knowing he can provoke him.
Bunch of bitch-ass tyrants. Yeah, I'm coming for your job, cocksucker.
Come for it.
I am.
Come for it.
I'm coming for your job. I'm coming for your job.
Oof. Mr. Jones has now achieved his goal of provoking Sergeant Marabito into an altercation in which physical contact is made on his person or property. Mr. Lanto has positioned himself to record the altercation and appear to attempt to de-escalate, thus setting the scene for his own narrative of the incident.
You can't dog on your fucking sister. You don't touch me. Just back up. Tell him to back up. Hey, get your dog. Get your hands on him. Fuck you too. You gotta talk. I got freedom of speech too. I got freedom of speech too.
10 feet. 10 feet.
Then you better hope my phone ain't broke. $1,000 phone, bitch.
10 feet. Fucking phone. 10 feet. Stay 10 feet away from me.
$1,000 phone.
Fuck you. Fuck you, you asshole. Bring it.
Little dick sucker. You're a little dick sucker. You ain't shit without that badge and gun, punk.
Despite being the apparent victim of Sergeant Marabito's actions, Mr. Jones does not cease the insults even as Sergeant Marabito is leaving, indicating that he's intent on continuing the altercation. Yeah, I mean, look, the reality of the situation, as horrible as it is to say, and I understand people's view on this, and I probably share your view that I would have liked to seen this guy get, I won't say, but, you know, just shut up. Not anything too bad, of course, but like the reality of the situation is that the sergeant in this scenario, technically, even though he didn't provoke the situation, is in the wrong because he shouldn't have reacted the way he did. He's a human being, of course, and, you know, he's probably under a tremendous amount of pressure, as is very obvious from this, but he shouldn't have acted that way. He obviously couldn't control it in the instance, but it's all about optics at the end of the day, and you are giving these people what they want. I don't blame him, though. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I don't blame him for acting the way he did. If this was in my locality, there's a good chance that it wouldn't be the phone that was on the floor. I'm just saying that. So again, I'm not going after the cop for saying this at all, not at all, or for doing what he did. I totally understand his position, but we have to look at this objectively, and from an objective position, it does look bad on the cop. Thank you so much at 36th District Court for the $5 super chat. Says peer pressure. Cops can't eat their lunches, but we can. Exactly. It's always a double standard with these people. But here's the reality, folks. As 36th District Court says here, the cop was wrong. I hate to say it because we all agree with the cop on this. I am sure of it, or at least the vast majority. But the reality of the situation is that the cop went way too far. He gave them, first and foremost, he gave them what he wanted. He gave them that aggression. He gave them the physical interaction. He absolutely gave them what they wanted. But again, I don't blame him necessarily for acting the way he did. But it was unprofessional, and it shouldn't have been done the way it did. But you know, it's just unfortunate that he did react the way he did. But I feel like he reacted in a way that any normal human being would do, and it took a lot of restraint, I would say, to not go any further than he did. Exactly. Michelle says the cop was wrong, but I don't blame him. I'm 100% with you on that one.
You ain't shit without that badge and gun. You ain't shit without it.
Yeah, Violet, absolutely right. He fell for the bait.
Little Willy Wonka munchkin motherfucker.
Here you go. Oh, now it's an unlawful detainment, you fucking idiot.
I'm just letting you know you need to back up.
Yeah.
Like flipping him the word and stuff like that. Again, I understand that he's frustrated. He's probably angry. He's probably upset as well. But you have to be above that. You have to be. There have been so many times in my job, in my previous career, where I wanted to do exactly this, but you can't. You have to restrain yourself, because at the end of the day, you might feel in the moment like you're winning, but you're not. You're not. You're losing, because they're filming this. They're going to get views out of this. They're going to get lawsuits out of this. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality, and that's why these officers need to hold themselves to a higher standard. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Andrat's absolutely 100% right there. He says, should have recognized he was being baited and left when suggested. I agree. But I guess we all know what it's like, you know, in the real world. Hindsight's 2020, and I'm sure the officer himself would probably agree with us on this. But in the moment, it might have been very hard for him to step away from that. Let me see.
You tell him to back off.
I am. Give me a second here.
Good. Tell him to back off. Now he's blocking the vehicle. That's unlawful detainment.
Let him talk to him.
Move. Can you guys move? And
No,
just let
I
me do
don't
my
have to
job,
move.
please?
The other officer who had attempted to de-escalate and restore order, who has done nothing directly to Mr. Jones or the other auditors, could potentially side with their claim Sergeant Morbido was out of line they chose to act less hostile towards him. But because Mr. Jones and the other auditors are treating him in a similar manner, it further indicates that their behavior is not a result of the sergeant's actions, but out of a desire to create conflict. I think that could be construed both ways, to be honest, but I tend to agree that it's more just to continue the confrontation.
Yeah, put him on a leash.
Oh, now you're trying to assault me with a car?
Yeah.
He was nowhere near
Wow,
you.
y'all are a bunch of
It's not his fault that your belly comes out 6 feet, boy.
tyrants here, guys. I can see the complaints filing now.
Multiple camera angles clearly show the MCC was not in the path. Yeah, exactly. He's just looking for more issues. All right. Let's see here.
Y'all finna get about 3,000-4,000 phone calls or more. Believe that.
Despite Sergeant Morabito, the individual the auditors claim to be the aggressor of the incident, no longer on the scene, the three insist on continuing to act abusive and make threats to the other officers as they're leaving.
Yeah, I don't know. We need everybody's name and badge number, guys. You didn't? Did you? I don't recall. Okay, what's this guy's name and badge number? What's your name and badge number?
Step out of the street, please, sir.
Don't tell me what to do, bitch.
You bent my trunk.
Uh-oh.
Bent his trunk by closing it. Must not be much of a trunk. Thank you so much to Frank Perry for the $5 super chat. Says, you're not shit without your badge and gun when the cops would kick their collective asses. Where he was wrong, we are all human and deal with assholes. Absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more, actually. I think that's spot on. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, though, that cop would probably kick any of their asses, you useless motherfuckers. But absolutely, he was in the wrong purely based off the reaction alone, is what I would say. The reaction was too far, in my opinion. But again, he's a human being, and I understand. I've been there. I have absolutely been there. In my previous job, I dealt with people like this every single day, which is why I hated covering Sovsits in the past. And so I definitely understand the feelings that officer was going through at that time. But, you know, you take on that job, it comes with rules and you have to follow them. And, you know, us as regular, normal people would look at that and go, God, I wish he would have just, you know, put that guy's lights out. But you can't do it. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Greg Edmond, thank you so much for the $5 says, this cop's reaction is everywhere in the news. What provoked isn't. I'm spreading the whole story wherever I can. Thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you doing that. And might I just say again, Tones Overthinks It did an amazing job breaking this down. 100%. Just an awesome job. So absolutely get this out there as much as possible. But preferably don't necessarily share mine, share Tones's one, because he's the one that did all the work. And he's asked for other creators like myself to go out there and share this. So please do share his and share the love with him. Cam Good says, I love you, Irish Streaming. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And glad to have you here. So let's just keep watching because I got to get out of here in half an hour. So we'll get through another bit of this.
Complaints.
All right, Karen. See how happy he is. Like the ha ha ha. Yes, I got the reaction I wanted. Now I can make money off this. It sucks, man. It sucks that these people act this way and get paid to do it. It's nuts.
Wow. Bye, bitch.
I see a lot of people talking about the news stations covering it and stuff like that. And look, I guess my understanding of the news stations in the US, and I'm open to correction on this, but is that basically there's a political leaning, generally speaking, one way or the other when it comes to news and who they want to portray as the bad guy in the news. And so ultimately you're never really going to get a win there. It seems that basically it's whoever is politically benefiting from it. That seems to be what makes the mainstream news. So I'm not sure it would do a whole lot of good, but you know, it's worth a shot anyway. So anyway, let's move on.
Talk about some tyrants. We got us a good one.
Holy cow, these guys might be worse than River Root.
Oh my! Oh, definitely.
Dude, he bent my trunk lid.
They just were so addicted to knowing.
Because I was holding it up.
Yeah.
And he was pulling it down.
Yeah.
They are so addicted.
They're so addicted.
Who the fuck
But hey,
do you think he is?
but like I told him, you ain't getting my ID, bitch.
Yeah, nobody got no fucking ID. They fucking stole my fucking plate.
Yeah, they did. That shit was hilarious.
Now we gotta go to that police department, right?
That's Shelby, isn't it?
No, that wasn't Shelby.
What was it? Bro, I gotta go back and look at the video, guys, and see what police department this is. I'm cold.
Mr. Jones and the other auditors then decided to go to the Utica police station in order to file a complaint and to film additional encounters with officers.
I think this is douchebag's car right here. Yeah, this is that douchebag's car right here.
Yeah. What unit is it?
Generated 97 says, this got worse because of James Freeman and Johnny 5-0. I haven't seen, I've seen them dox the cop and then start call floods. That's fucked up.
I don't know, but there's a clear glass window right there.
Like with the motorist and Sergeant Marbita's vehicle, Lanto and Jones immediately begin to film in an invasive manner that would appear suspicious. That's what they do. See you later,
of course
Cindy.
they got a blue line flag.
Oh yeah, you can tell by the way they acted. They're blue liners.
Well, it is a police station, so not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, see the flag right there?
Oh yeah.
Is he? Huh?
They're all in there.
I bet they are. Oh, looky here. Oh, nothing important. Never mind.
Here it is.
Recording started.
That's Sergeant Erdl. Yeah, I need complaint forms. Yep. FOIA request 2, please.
Against officers.
He's just like, yeah,
Multiple
whatever.
Officers.
Auditors often make frequent FOIA requests to obtain information for no official purpose but to give them access to public buildings when their actions would often be considered loitering otherwise. They also threaten to and file multiple complaint forms against officers as a means of retaliation and harassment. I hear you, Into the Blue, mister. I hear you, bud. Hopefully catch you in the next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a complaint form for each officer that was on that scene. What was there, 5 of them?
Right.
Can you write down every officer's name and badge number that showed up on that call? Thank you very much.
Pat, hand them crayons and paper. Mr. Jones once again begins to show aggression, insulting and berating an officer who was not involved in the incident. Exactly, just trying to provoke another response.
Oh, they already got paper out of this.
Walk away, really, you douchebag? I want every officer's name and badge number that came on that call. Quit trying to hinder the process. It's a complaint process. Hindering, that's a crime.
Things take time sometimes, douchebag. They got other things to do as well.
There's their midget munchkin detective. Can I get those officers' name and badge number? Also, you want to be complicit in hindering the complaint process? You'll be in the lawsuit too then, bitch.
Wow.
Oh, we need the Attorney General on this?
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll get the Attorney General. Won't be the first time.
Mr. Jones' statement confirms that this was not an isolated incident. His YouTube channel, Frickin' Media, confirms that he has instigated conflict with law enforcement on multiple occasions.
We know all the pertinent law codes to file against this entire department. Do you want to fucking go down that road?
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
Well, she might be going back there to get all that information, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. She might be doing something.
Yeah, there went that little piece of shit.
Thank you so much, Renebo, for the $20 super chat. Says, here is the info of our main local news. Have at it. If you'd like Fox News, call the news desk at 248-557-2000 or send us an email, fox2newsdesk@foxtv.com. Main number 313-222-0444. News tip, email us at news@wdiv.com. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I will actually send them an email and send them this and hopefully put out the other side of the story. I think that's really important too.
Yeah, he's probably on the phone with his chief right now saying, I fucked up, man.
Is it a prerequisite for auditors to have severe COPD and breathing problems? Because it seems like all of them have.
I'm used to getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did way more than he can chew this time.
Yeah, they're all up in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're doing their little piggy huddle. They're getting their story straight.
When law enforcement is not present or unable to respond, auditors will make random, unsubstantiated claims and conclusions. Exactly. They got other shit to do.
Yeah. Because they know they stepped off in it this time. They don't mess with somebody who knows their rights and knows the law a little bit.
3 cameras caught it, besides yours.
Apparently, we know the law better than they do.
I'd be willing to doubt that. I would absolutely be willing to doubt that. Now, I'm just going to adjust the playback speed here because I'm noticing that I'm running out of time a little bit. So let's speed it up a little bit here.
I guess these will be going on every officer that was on scene.
It was probably one of the craziest police interactions I've ever seen. That's saying a lot. I've seen a lot.
That wasn't that crazy.
I mean, if one sergeant comes walking over from the paint line and says it's nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
Boom, yeah. Little dickhead munchkin detective thought he was hard.
Well, he's a sergeant. He had a sergeant's name. His name in
Yeah, he ain't gonna be a sergeant for long.
Uh-huh.
Not that way. He'll be fighting fucking parking tickets.
Yep.
Matt Gunnarsson upgraded membership to the Savage Sergeant Major. Thank you very much.
Lucky.
Auditors also have a tendency to recall recent events differently and claim their recordings will support their narrative of the incident when any objective viewer will conclude otherwise. Absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more there, Tones. Guys, I gotta say, if any of my mods there, Renee or other, could please share a link to Tones Overthinks' channel. Tones did an awesome job in this. I'm hoping I got to reach out to Tones soon actually and get him to come on for a chat. I'd really love to have him on. Did an amazing job on this. In this incident, recorded on 3 cameras, at no point did Sergeant Morabito or any of the other officers state that there was no legitimate complaint. Their behavior to the motorist and the officers was clearly hostile. Absolutely right. I couldn't agree more.
Mayor Calandrino, who are you?
Mayor, how are you, Mayor?
Good.
I think we have some issues with some officers.
Yeah, we were just assaulted by officers.
Have you talked to
Sergeants,
police?
2 of them.
Have you talked to dispatch about it? Or?
We're trying to get their names and badge numbers because they refuse to identify.
Mr. Lanto encounters Mayor Gus Calandrino of Utica, Michigan, then proceeds to provide his narrative to an incident Mayor Calandrino was not a witness to, nor is involved in the investigation of. Goosebumps says, yeah, Tones really rocked it. He sure did. Amazing job.
Yeah, they were acting like this bad. Like
The
bad.
trunk in my car trying to pull my trunk down to get my plate, which was 100% unlawful and illegal.
They claim that it was a traffic stop when they got a call from a gentleman who was,
Just got themselves a lawsuit. I can tell you that right now.
I mean, it's going to be bad. I'm just preparing you for.
Well, I can only tell you myself, it doesn't help your cause when everyone's got cameras pointed at everyone.
I would-
And roaming around in the field. This is council chambers.
I would disagree. Okay, so is it a public area?
Mayor Calandrino politely points out that their filming and wandering around the police station may not be the best approach if they have a legitimate grievance. But they don't have a legitimate grievance, although maybe they do.
It is, but there's nothing public happening right now.
Well, I would disagree.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna get into argument with you.
I'm not trying to argue
I'm
with
glad to help you and talk to you, about complaints, but if
Well,
you're
wait
going to
till
be confrontational, that's not going to help.
Okay.
You get that, right?
Well, okay, well, let me back this up.
Go right ahead. I'm busy.
Wait till you see the conduct of your officer.
I'm anxious to see it.
I mean, it's bad. It's bad. We belong to a nationwide activist network.
Hell yeah, Quest Outdoor says, Glenn, so did you come to see how a real channel is run? Thank you very much. Says, I don't think you'll get any of the super chats from us. Oh, Luna, where are you at? Joshua Lanto is alleged to be associated with an activist group known as the Sovereign
We see a lot
Citizen
of bad
Movement.
policing. This was probably one of the worst.
Mhm,
And that's no
interesting.
exaggeration, sir.
Well,
That's
if
no
there's an issue
exaggeration.
going on, of course, I want to hear about it.
I mean, your officer is demanding ID when we've done nothing illegal. They even stated on camera that we had done nothing illegal, and then they're demanding ID from everybody.
Right.
Okay, and I'm just telling you this.
That's the mayor. Oh, yeah. Is it okay for your officers to assault people, smack their phones out of their hands, cuss at them?
The officer
This
smacked
is how
his
we're starting this
phone.
conversation.
I'm just asking. I'm asking because I'm pretty upset about the
I'm
fact.
trying to be calm with you.
Yeah, I'm calm.
Excuse me. Upon his arrival to the conversation, Mr. Jones immediately speaks aggressively to the mayor, once again acting against an individual who may want to hear their grievance but may be left with a negative impression of their behavior. So yeah, absolutely right. And the thing is, he's not doing it to actually air his grievance. He's just trying to get more content, right? That's kind of how they roll, really.
A very,
Wait till you see what
Yeah,
happens.
it's a very blunt question. It absolutely is. I'm pretty upset that he smacked my $1,000
well, the
phone out of
obvious
my
answer
hand.
is, of course it's not.
Okay, cool.
Right.
So what the real thing we have to determine is why do you think that happened?
Mhm.
Did it happen?
Mhm.
Right?
Did-
So by
did it
asking a
happen?
rhetorical question that the answer is obvious.
Well, it's not
That's
always
right.
obvious.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, there's some mayors in the United States that are completely okay with how their departments act.
Mr. Jones continues to speak in a disrespectful manner to the mayor, further souring any potential dialogue and the potential assistance he may be willing to provide.
It's true. There are many, many mayors that are quite okay with
I am not okay with the behavior you mentioned.
Okay.
We haven't determined. I'm
Okay, so-
this for
right.
like 2 minutes.
Right.
So
So
I'm just saying,
Right,
your
you went
approach
there.
isn't
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Oh, I
You know what I
know.
mean?
Oh, I get that all the time.
Okay, because I'm here to help you. I'm not
Okay.
here to confront you.
Okay,
And if we're not going to help each
Well,
other,
the way you de-escalated, and it tells me that you're genuinely interested in what took place and figuring out
I
what's
am,
going on.
for
So
sure.
I can appreciate that. I come off a little hard sometimes, but I'm always in defense mode. Always.
I'm always in trying to help you.
Cool.
Okay?
Awesome. That's what we want. That's what our public.
Glenn Serio super chats for $2. I want my shepherd's pie, a Guinness, and my money. Number one, there's not enough shepherd's pie in the whole world. Number two, you can't handle a Guinness. And number three, there's still $100 waiting for you to come on the live stream.
Let's do that. All right.
Yes, definitely.
So
Despite Mr. Jones's attempt to now walk back his rude behavior, he and Mr. Lanto proceed to imply to the mayor that they will be encouraging their audience. What was that? Their audiences to call bomb his office and practice used by the auditors to cause disruption in the communication of law enforcement and municipal
we
institutions.
can't do this right now because I have a Parks and Rec meeting starting in about 20 minutes and I have some things I have to wrap up.
Well, that officer created a PR nightmare for you. I'm just
Yeah, you
letting
did.
you know.
You guys are fixing to
I
get
got
thousands of
plenty
phone
of
calls.
PR.
Well, you guys are fixing to get thousands and thousands of phone calls.
I will be here tomorrow if you'd like to come in and have a meeting with me.
Yeah.
My office is right. We're closed right now. For sure.
I totally understand, Peggy. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate having you here.
That's awesome. Do you have a card?
At least you're accessible, man.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's no exaggeration. You have to see the way that gentleman behaved. It was
Well, I'm just hearing about this, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right. Like he shows up. He's a neutral party. He's trying to investigate to see what's going on.
And he's with you too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were so addicted to wanting to know our identification, which isn't going to help establish anything regarding what the situation that occurred.
Mr. Lanto, like many auditors and sovereign citizens, poses an ignorance of the law and the investigative process. If a complaint is made and investigation is required, then it is essential for law enforcement to identify all parties involved. This is standard practice.
So you figure it out, you investigate, and then, okay, a crime took place, now I need your ID. Right? And so that's what this is all about. And when I tell you this is bad, all I do is watch cop watching videos, and this is probably one of the worst of the worst.
It's all you do, right?
Yeah. So, but if it's true, the claims that I'm making, if they are true, you seem like you are interested in
100%.
taking care of this.
Yeah, if you're saying something's wrong, I'm not saying
Take care, Brian. Have a good one, my friend.
I believe you.
I'm just saying, like, that's the way the guy acts.
I don't really have any.
Right, but that's the way when I tell you it's bad, it's bad.
I'm just going to post the video on YouTube, and the video will speak for itself, how the sergeant
Yeah.
acted.
Mr. Jones again implies that his presence on YouTube is significant enough that posting the video will have consequences for the mayor and the city of Utica. The incident has not yet been formally investigated. Mr. Jones seems intent on circumventing the process and seeking a judgment in a court of public opinion.
He wasn't going to get mine.
Right, and then he lied and said we're on a traffic stop. It's like when you pulled up, you didn't initiate a traffic stop. You're just
Doesn't
here to
have to
investigate what's going on.
initiate a
You're not
traffic
asking
stop.
for the other parties.
Well, again, I mean, I need to hear what's going on.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I got complaint forms. I'm going to officially file a complaint and everything, so I'm sure you'll get to see that as well. And I'll
You can come talk to me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be back over this way tomorrow, but I got your card, so I'll definitely
Give me a
schedule
call.
an appointment.
Yeah, because there's two guys out there that if you were putting
36th District Court. The reason he sounds that way is I've had to speed up the video because I'm running out of time and I've got a premiere coming up here in about 15
guns
minutes.
in their hands, they're truly dangerous people.
Mr. Lanto has now made an unsubstantiated and potentially slanderous claim against the officers who were at the previous incident. An incident that did not end with Mr. Lanto or his associates having their lives threatened or even cited for any criminal offences.
I'm anxious to see what you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You guys have a great
Okay.
night.
Appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm Gus. Thank you so much.
Mayor?
Appreciate it. What is it?
Gus.
Gus?
Yes,
Appreciate it.
awesome. Thank you.
You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Every night, Gus. I'm definitely going to have a meeting with the mayor about this. Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's hard.
Oh, that's just gross. Glenn Serio super chats $5 says, how about a bucket of fiddle faddle? I don't know what that is. Officer Balls used undies. That's gross. And something else that he said he would sign before deleting the comment. Oh, that's just mank. Ugh. Officer Balls, goddamn saint. She's a pretty cool lady.
Cool. That's all we're going to see here. Oh, you're calling for service?
Yeah, names and badge numbers.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't give it to her. Well, she was going to write them all down for me, and then he told her, just give him the complaint forms and walk away. Oh, it's Minnie Munchkin, Tyrant Sergeant Bench.
It's that piece of shit.
Yeah, that piece of shit cop. Oh, they're already getting phone calls from the live stream, aren't they?
Could be.
Utica Police Department.
I don't think he knows how to answer a phone.
Upon citing Sergeant Morbido in the police station, the auditors proceed to resume their harassment and insults.
He's a danger to the community, totally. And he's a liability for this police department. That's Sergeant Liability.
Now you see the wheel starting to spin after we took that phone.
I think this gentleman needs assistance.
Yeah, we need the names and badge numbers of the officers who just assaulted us. We're still waiting out here for them. Okay. Said somebody's going to come to speak to us.
Okay, cool.
Could you guys turn your
I'll turn my camera on.
I'm just going to record the accident, that's all. I mean, you guys are news meeting. No, you're fine.
I mean, but just so you know, we don't have to do that.
Oh, I didn't.
But I will.
I didn't.
Oh, I know you guys don't have that. That's why I.
Okay, cool. Don't you know we don't have to? Then I respect that.
And that's the quickest way to get that camera off.
That is, man. That's a good way to get my camera. So I know what I'm doing this.
Bacon Bit says fiddle faddle is caramel or buttered toffee popcorn. That sounds awesome, actually. Sounds like diabetes in a bowl, but sounds nice.
And then I'll leave it alone. Cool. As long as you know everybody can. Hi. We're not told this. Can be, but
When it's necessary,
when it's
absolutely.
necessary. Paperwork.
Auditors usually are lacking in self-awareness when it comes to their own behavior and justifying their conduct solely on the grounds that they are under no obligation to be courteous or respectful to anyone. Yeah, exactly. Just because you don't have to doesn't mean that you shouldn't. The auditors remain at the police station with no interactions with any officers or personnel for several minutes, occasionally citing the sergeant and making additional insults.
We did.
Our main home, you know, that's quite the situation. What about when the cops are escaping?
Right.
Exactly. We spoke with him.
Even if he's touching you in hall.
Right.
Don't do
Remember,
that.
if this may imply you think you're guilty of something, the officer might be pleased.
Oh, Lord. I should have took off around and pulled out.
That would have been funny.
Why is he wearing a blue Santa hat?
Jump out of the car and
I was
bolt.
already out when he pulled up. I should have took off around.
Okay, fine. Just call me Avi says, say it correctly, Irish Demon. Diabetes.
Run right around the back.
Oh, they laugh like such kids.
Gone.
This is comedy over here. The officer's questions are clarifying information and not an accusation of wrongdoing.
At this point, Sergeant Morbido and two officers come out into the lobby to confront the auditors. Before we continue, Jay Verse says, how do people who are legitimately harassed and abused by bad police feel about these auditors claiming they were abused? Exactly. That's a really good point. Look, let's just call a spade here. You guys know how I roll. If somebody's in the wrong on something, then they're in the wrong, and I'll call it out as wrong, regardless of who they are or what uniform they wear. The reality is, and I've seen it with my own two eyes in court, I've seen it a few times, that police officers can and do go outside of what they're supposed to do and do cause grievances for people. Thankfully, it's very few and far between, but that's why I myself am very careful with how I interact with officers. But the reality is the vast majority are totally cool and there's no reason to have any issues. But for the people that do have those problems, this lessens that quite a bit because a lot of people don't take them seriously. So I agree. It's like the term racist or homophobe or whatever being thrown around as much as it is. It loses the sting that it should absolutely have. John Rapp, you know what to do. For $2 Australian says, Glenda is just a public master. And then I'm going to do a big pause. Baiter, useless. I agree. He's a gobshite. Dash Away, thank you so much for $5 sends a happy dancing guide. Thank you very much indeed. Alrighty, let's close this out. So yeah, they come out to confront the auditors. We're going to go back to regular speed here now because I've made up some of the time that I lost. So normal speed.
Taking your complaint today, you have to come back tomorrow to make your complaint. You can make as many complaints as you want tomorrow.
While Sergeant Murabito informs the auditors that they cannot take their complaint that day, he does not object to the complaints themselves. His presence here may be unexpected and ill-advised given the situation, but may suggest he was the supervisor on duty and therefore the auditors would need to give their complaints when another supervisor was there. That's actually a very good point. I think that could very, very easily be the case. Mr. Jones once again becomes hostile and unwilling to listen.
I think you need to just take yourself out of the situation because right now, what you have is a conflict of interest.
Okay, for right now, you are loitering.
So you need to go away.
2 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
Go away.
It's fine. Go away. You have 2 minutes to leave the building. If you don't leave in 2 minutes, you will be arrested for.
Then arrest him. Then arrest him. You have 2 minutes to leave. Arrest him.
We just need names and badge numbers and we'll leave.
2 minutes. If you can't read, I don't know what to tell you. My name is
I
right
don't
there.
see your badge number.
You don't
So
need
that's Sergeant right there.
Right there.
That's
My
Sergeant
last
right
name.
there.
Right there. Film it.
Here's my.
You have 2
How
minutes.
about yours?
Oh, you have
How
2
about
minutes
yours,
to
sir?
leave.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, you're gonna leave.
You can stay in the lobby 24
No,
hours.
Like you got my
You're
ID.
disrupting.
Like you got my ID. We're not disrupting anything. You're an idiot.
R-E-L-E.
We're not disrupting anything.
Yes, you are. You need to.
No, we're not. Shut up.
You cannot. You cannot.
Shut up.
Giving you mine already. It's Rinelli, 376.
You
Thank you.
have a conflict of interest.
You
here,
need to
and
go.
You need to exit.
I'm going to take a wild guess here that this is an area of America that has had an influx of Italian Americans over the years. I noticed this with Chicago as well. There's a lot of Irish, Italian, and Polish descendants in Chicago. So I'm guessing this is an area where there's a lot of Italian descendants because I noticed most of the surnames are kind of Italian sounding. Just a point that I noticed from different parts of America. Take that as you will. Dang it. Press the wrong thing.
You need to go. I'm not
Can I have your badge number, please?
Can you read or are you ignorant?
You're ignorant.
You see my badge there?
I didn't realize
Okay.
the badge number.
Okay,
was
can you
not
see
that.
that? Okay, that's all you need.
I thought his badge number was 69. I was going to be like, right, this is done too good.
Otherwise, you're ignorant.
You need to back off and stop being
You
an
have to leave. You guys need to leave now. Now. It's no more 2 minutes. You're gone.
Could I please get your badge number?
If you do not leave now, you will be arrested.
Let's get the mayor. See what he
If you do not leave now, you will be arrested.
Could I please get your badge
Now,
number?
leave.
I asked for all you guys to
Ask
say the
one.
badge.
Okay.
You're done. You're done.
What the?
You're done.
Really?
You're under arrest.
Well, can't say he wasn't warned, right?
Would you like to go next? I'll leave.
Come on, let's go.
Now. Leave now. Ready to make arrest? Yeah. This guy is even.
Can we get his property?
No, it's his property. You can take it with him.
Oh, if he says we can have it, can we
You
get
can take
it?
it with him and you can leave it your name and number for release for another
And that
month.
means the parking lot too. Leave the premises.
Okay, can we get his property? I just explained that. I'll get his property. He leaves it for you on his property.
Listen, I'm trying to be cool.
I'm letting you know right now. If he leaves it for you on his property.
You're trying to be cool with them. No, you're not.
I think you can tell her I'm trying to be cool.
What the?
They just fucked up.
Big time.
They haven't got a feckin' tooth between them.
It's a public lobby in a public building.
So who determines 2 minutes?
Are you live?
No, I'm recording, but I'm not live. Let's go to the car.
Anyway, so that is the majority of the video there. I might just say again, Tones Overthinks It did an amazing job, like an absolutely amazing job. in breaking this down. Welcome, Michelle, to the Demon Army there over on Patreon. Really appreciate it. Really glad to have you as well. And yeah, of course, Patreon is an option. Might I just say, my my merch store is absolutely awesome, by the way. There's some really, really good stuff on there. But yeah, so folks, like Tones Overthinks It did an amazing job breaking this down. I think generally hit the nail on the head with the vast majority of stuff there. The thing about these auditors, this is exactly what they wanted to happen. So when it comes to the copper in this scenario, I would say that was a loss on his part, and that's not me having a go at him. I understand why he may have acted the way he did, but certainly it didn't look good, right? It didn't look good. Evan Graves says, can you put a shoe on your head? If Luna comes in here with $200, I'll put 2 shoes on my head. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even think there's a shoe here to put on my head. I can put a glove on my head. There we go. Glove on head. That's the new channel name. But yeah, so ultimately, I would say that from the officer's perspective, I can understand why he acted the way he did. Wasn't the right way to go, in my opinion, because you first and foremost, and most of all, you gave them exactly what they wanted, and that's a very unfortunate thing. As for the auditors in this scenario, it's very obvious that this is the reaction that they wanted to get. They got it. I hope it worked out for you. I don't think spending a day in jail was worth it, but it's just a silly situation. They pushed it, they got what they wanted, and ultimately the winner here was them in that respect. But then again, there's a reality here as well that in the long term, these people never win out, right? Because how can you have a good life living this way? How can you really look at what you've done here and say that any of that was any form of an achievement? It's far from it. It really is. Rockchild of the 60s says, FYI, that hot-headed cop got demoted and lost rank, rightfully so too, if he gets triggered so easily. Look, I suppose as for him losing rank and things like that, I'm not 100% sure on that one if I would agree that that's the right course of action. Definitely a talking to, and I might get some flack for that, and I say it to people all the time. I'm not going to side with the cop just because they're a cop. In fact, I'm going to hold them to a higher standard because they are a cop, as I was held to. So I definitely would say that he was out of line. He didn't act the way that I felt was appropriate, even though I understand why he acted the way he acted. As for him getting stood down or fired or whatever, I'm not sure I agree with that necessarily. I think maybe a good talking to, and probably the officer maybe doing some extra training, something like that, so that he doesn't necessarily react the way that he did in future is probably a more appropriate way of dealing with that, in my view. Again, as far as I'm aware, there are a lot of political elements to decisions that are made in certain countries, but it is the way it is. Dave Madigan says they win here. Yes, absolutely, they did win. We might not like it, but they did absolutely win in this scenario. They got what they wanted, even though that damning video of them showing that they are going out there to intentionally provoke these responses it looks bad on them. At the same time, they did win because they got the exact reaction they wanted. They wanted the cops to have a go at them. That's exactly what they got. They wanted one of them to even get locked up. As bad as that is, they wanted that kind of thing to happen. Maybe not actually get arrested, but certainly to be threatened with it or something along those lines. In this case, he did get arrested, which ultimately is a win for him because it's exactly what they want for their YouTube channels. It's exactly what drives the viewership. It's exactly what gives them what they want every time. And sadly, in this scenario, that is what happened. How can you beat that? How can you deal with that? Well, the simple thing is just to ignore them. Ignore them. Johnny McLeod says, how do I donate? I'm new here. There's a few ways. If you want to, there's Super Chats, PayPal, or there's also my merch store, which is a really good option for anybody because not only do you support the channel, you also get something cool at the other end of it. And there's a few people I see in the side chat there who've gotten some really awesome shit in the side chat from the merch store. Other options are becoming a Patreon, and there's links for that in the description, or becoming a YouTube channel member. Or in this case, if you wanted to head on over to Tones Overthinks' channel and check him out, hit the subscribe and give him a like and a follow, that would be much appreciated as well. And thank you all so much for those of you who do keep the channel afloat. The reality is, for YouTubers, if we didn't have the support that we have from our viewers, if we didn't have the likes, if we didn't have our channels being pushed out there and helped to grow, and of course, if we didn't have the financial support that we get, the reality is that most of us, because we love what we do, would continue to make videos. But sadly, we wouldn't necessarily be able to do it the way that we want to, which is, you know, on a daily basis, putting out these things. It takes a lot of time. And so if you were working a full-time job and trying to do this full-time, it's just not something that would be really feasible, to be quite honest. There probably are people who can do it. I know I couldn't do it because, you know, obviously I just wouldn't have the time to be able to do what I do and still run a house and a job and studying. Like, I do all those things as well, so it's not easy. But you know, that's the way she rolls. And I really appreciate that there too, Dave. You know, we absolutely, we don't have to agree on everything. And while I agree with most people here that these guys absolutely were pushing for this, this is what they wanted. They wanted people to go out of their way to cause trouble so that they could get views. And sadly, that's why I think that that was a win on their side, because that is exactly what they wanted. And that's exactly what they got, as much as we may hate it. Johnny McLeod, welcome to the Sadistic Sergeants. Thank you so much. I think I'm almost at 100 members. Let me just check real quick. I'm going to do a special stream when I get to 100 members just to celebrate that. We're rolling now nice and quickly towards 20,000 subscribers. I'm at 18,820 right now. So we're rolling towards the 20,000 subscribers. We're going to do a special extra long live stream for that one. Get some people in, all sorts of stuff. And let me see, how many members am I at right now? I am at 85 members now, so I've got 15 members to go, and I'm going to have a special 100 member live stream. Maybe might even do a members live stream. Yeah, I'll do a members live stream when I get to 100. A short one just for members, and then the rest of it will be for everybody. And then we're going to do 20,000 members subscriber, 20,000 subscriber special live stream, where we're going to get some other creators on. Like, I'm looking at you out there, Jerry, if it's something you'd be interested in. We might try to get Team Skeptic on. We might try to get MC Toon on, and a few others. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, lads and lassies, we are out of time for tonight. Stay with me, though, because once I end this live stream, it's going to push you on over to my new video, which is out tonight. It is, of course, also demonetized, but that's okay. We can counteract that, not by necessarily sending super chats or PayPals or anything like that, but by sharing it. Share it on YouTube, share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube if you have a YouTube channel, share it on Instagram. I think you can't actually share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter. That shows YouTube that it's worth watching, and they'll be willing to push it out more. Renee Bow has been a Sadistic Sergeant for 2 months. As everyone in chat should go give Tones Over Things to the sub. I could not agree with you any more than I already do, so I'm going to ask you guys to do the exact same thing. Go on over there, check him out. He really deserves it. Luna for $200 says, shut up, Glenn Serio. I agree 100%. Anyway, we're at that time, lads and lassies. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed the show. We'll catch you for the next one. And with that, Sláinte.